OMG, how do you set this up? Because you've now got a Syndra in the mid lane, and there is a bit of long-range engage available for this team.
And that was exactly what we wanted to see, right? We said, hey, Control Mage in the mid lane, Orianna, Syndra are kind of your two options. Going for the more aggressive one, has a bit more solo agency, is what I'd like to say, but I love that you bring that up. Long range engage, right? We have the Jhin ultimate, we have the Scatter of the Weak, we have the Call of the Forge God. Rel has some abilities and ways to dash in onto the enemy team, so OMG are good at keeping Rogue Warriors at long distance and taking the fights on their terms. For Rogue Warriors, though, it seems like we're seeing this divide a lot today. Where
we'll be up all night. I don't know if that made sense, but let's go into game 3, Lyric. Take it away.
No, Hysterics. We don't tune into you for you to make sense. We tune in for you for those witty one-liners and that nice accent. But, you know, actually not seeing any level 1 shenanigans this time around, which I'd say makes a bit of sense, where every other game we've seen something along the lines of an Olaf on the Rift, which, again, so great at level 1, just thrives off those invades. We just see a very normal start, and we've already said, hey, OMG can take it a bit slower, as with a lot of other team compositions have. They have the Kindred, they have the Ornn, they have a Syndra, so they have good scaling later on into the game. For the side of Rogue Warriors, you need to be looking for blood. I think, once again, they don't have a lot of innate synergies with their Taliyah to set up that Seismic Shove combo, so it is much more about getting lane priority from the likes of Forge, and then roaming with your Taliyah, looking for jungle invades or looking for 4-man ganks on bot or 3-man ganks top.
And I also want to note that you're talking about scaling, and, you know, looking at someone like Cold, who steals a percentage value of armor and MR, is always going to be better the longer the game goes on. Just unfortunate he doesn't have any strong, tanky targets to steal that from, so the values will be quite low as this game progresses. OMG actually starting in this bottom lane. There's no leash given over to Arki on this Kindred, while it is Betty and Chocho who go and give a leash to Haro on this Taliyah. So, bit of momentum available here for the jungler, who's on one of his comfort picks back in 2019 and 2020.
No, so we do expect Taliyah to just kind of full clear on her first jungle. Yep. Because, again, that was the buff, is that your first clear is so much faster and so much healthier now. For OMG, though, I kind of like the solo start coming up from Aki. It denies a lot of information from Rogue Warriors. You have no idea what his path is or where he's going to be. So if he wants to look for some kind of cheeky play, it is available. You obviously don't have to, as we've already set up. OMG can take a bit of a slower game. I think early game, get down some defense wards. Ooh.
That was a flash for a flash. That's worth. I mean, Chocho has Hex Flash, so thank you very much. Eric gets threatened out at level 1.
And let's remember, Eric is not a very experienced player. Chocho and Betty both are, even if they haven't played together.
But meanwhile, Forge in the mid lane ignites, plays down. One orb from Wu Ming, another auto attack. This is going to involve a flash at one point, but Forge holds on, pops a pot instead, and was very ambitious going in, but regrets it in the aftermath.
Yeah, and Wu Ming was very patient, which I liked, but hey, we're just getting non-stop action this game.
We are. Searing Charge doesn't connect, though, and Ziv has the shield up for W. Is he going to be able to survive? No. Don't need to answer that question. Aki comes in, first blood to the Kindred.
Yeah, and there was a bit of a disconnect between Ziv and Haro, because Ziv was pushing in his lane. He did need a bit of cover, whether that's, you know, on him for not communicating well or mismanaging his wave. He got punished. Once again, this goes back to the fact that we said, hey, Ziv has not been in the best form in recent years, wasn't even the full-time starter on AHQ in 2020, so he is going to have a bit of rust and need to get back into, you know, a good playing form for Rogue Warriors to succeed.
But you got to admit, to get back into form, LPL's definitely the league to do so. Like, this is the league about skirmishing, about bullying out, about being the best individually and translating that into your team's win. So, for Rogue Warriors, top laner, a bit of a mistake to start off, gives over the kill to Aki on this Kindred, who's still clearing back and forth, while Haro is trying to deny the mark on the Scuttlebot side.
And this is going exactly the way we wanted to see it, right? We said, hey, there's no real setup in these lanes. The lanes are going to work a lot more autonomously, and it's going to be about just kind of winning your own individual lane, setting up for the Taliyah to, you know, take the camps you want. In this case, double scuttling, and then just following her when she's looking for these camps.
Good crash down there from Cole to dismount. He'll have the mount up in a second as well for the Ferromancy, his W. Also, while you're talking about jungle, it interests me, if I ever have time, always a Rogue Warriors game, isn't it? Doesn't matter if it's LPL or Demacia Cup, Rogue Warriors always bloody love to fight. It's fun casting them, but boy oh boy, you don't speak much about anything when you're casting these games. It's Cold. He's going to demount once again, and away he goes.
And we also need to remember, right, Wooming up against his former team, so kind of have 6 Rogue Warriors players here on the Rift.
Oh, I don't say
Forge,
that. People take that the wrong way.
People will take that the wrong way, but hey, context is king, Hysterics. But hey, Forge has been having a good time in that mid lane, obviously having a bit of a CS lead right now, already picking up the tier, which of course, for anyone who doesn't know, tier has been changed into pretty much a starting item. Used to cost 850 gold, now only costs 400. It gives a bit less mana, but it's a lot easier to stack. You only need 360 mana to stack it, but you no longer can just spam abilities. You actually need to hit your abilities on enemies or allies.
Yeah, the caveat is as well that you can hit it on minions now, which is quite nice. But yeah, exactly right. Champions like Karma with Shield will stack up. So there's your 101 with Lyric. If you want to sub to him, you can just click on his name in Twitch, and I'm sure you can give him some money for that. But at the moment, if you look at Summoner's Rift, there's a 10 CS lead through the mid lane, which is quite interesting. On one of the tier users you're talking about, the Lucian maintaining the aggression from Forge, while Ziv up in this top lane is going even in CS with an Ornn. Off of dying there before, it's quite obvious as to why. Bammy Cinders pick up as New teleports back into the lane.
Yep, and just going off a bit more on items since we don't have much happening as of right now. Misfortune, of course, another new build with her. She goes for the tier and Muramana first, and then typically builds it into that Eclipse. So going that lethality route, still going to have a ton of burst. Obviously, you feel great with tier being able to spam your E on the enemy Jhin. So I feel like Rogue Warriors building it in a position to where they can keep being aggressive, but still, OMG, just like we said earlier in their series against FPX, are just straight chilling.
They're just straight chilling. How long does the chill last for, though? Haro, once again, is going to deny another mark. His CS advantage is growing faster and faster, and I love that you talked about jungler just waiting for the individual lanes to set them up, and then Talia just comes on in. Well, this time around with Lost Chapter, he's going to be moving with the lanes, now hitting level 6. And Arky's willing to face check this Lyric. This could be a full-blown fight. Seismic shove, stolen away, but they've locked down Chocho, and Cole picks up the kill, absorbs the culling. The Intractor Repel wasn't even needed as Cole survives.
Yeah, it was close. It was almost a 1-for-1, especially if Forge or if Betty, had already had his ultimate. Feels like they could have evened it out. In the end, they're not able to, though. They still do get away with the steal, and it still feels like the most important part in this game is Haro ahead or not? He still currently is, so Rogue Warriors still having an avenue to play out this game. And let's be honest, Chocho has been known to, step a bit too far forward once or twice in the past, so nothing too uncharacteristic.
I don't know what happened, but Cole just burned his flash and ignite, and now he's demounted. He used the crash down on Ferromancy. As he mounts back up, Chocho flashes on him for the face breaker, but Eric's left alone. The Haymaker not needed. Haro picks up a kill. There's your momentum you're talking about, Lyric, and Rogue Warriors take it right back.
Yeah, and they're going to be able to turn this one into a dragon. We also do see pings coming out on the minimap for OMG wanting to head straight towards Herald since they do have the tempo advantage off of the reset. So potentially just going to get a trade in objectives. I wonder if Rogue Warriors will be able to anticipate this correctly and start heading topside. They do have a control ward in the top half of mid lane river, so they at least spot out that Wooming is hovering. So I feel like you have the information to look to deny this play.
Because with a very enhanced Talia, she's going to get there super quick. Just remember rock surfing as well. Adds so much mobility. Tier 2 boots on top of that. With Storks now picked up as crashed down with perfect. And that's the power of Attracted Repel. Instant stun from the Rel. And Wooming gets a kill on top of that.
And OMG finding exactly what they need to guarantee this objective. So not great that they lost a dragon, but at least they're going to get something out of this one. The thing, though, is it's going to be hard to find a place to use it when we see, hey, their top laner's been getting pushed in, their mid lane's been losing, their bot lane's been using. So they're going to need to look for some kind of 2 to 3 man roam squad, head to, let's say, bot lane and look to use this. Because I feel like bot lane right now is really their only potential avenue of attack.
Because you've got a Misfortune with a 20 CS lead. At least plating going to be going down. But for OMG, if that avenue continues to exist, that should give Eric some gold as well, who's heading back down. But Lyric, know where Haro and Forge, I believe. No, not Forge. Chocho are behind enemy lines. Just zoning away Eric. There's not too much you can do.
Yeah, one thing we need to remember with this team, like I said earlier with their bot lane, just their whole team overall, this is a very experienced team outside of Forge. They've all been playing for numerous years at this point. A lot of internationally tested players. Betty, Haro, Ziv, Chocho obviously as a sub. So
True.
it's nice to see that a lot of their map movements are very coordinated, even if, again, they're definitely still rounding out their edges. It's a very new team, but some semblance of team play is there.
Isn't it impressive, right? Like Rogue Warriors, 4 out of 5 of them have been to Worlds. Even if Chocho was a sub, you know, still exists. Forge is the least experienced member and the only person that hasn't gone to an international event. So, experienced Rogue Warriors lineup might not mean everything. As here's the attract and repel once again. Haro with the size of jump dodged away from by Eric. The Weaver's Wall was good, but as soon as Rel turned up, Haro had to back away.
I mean, this was as Haro of a Haro play you could get, though I will pause.
Yeah, let's see.
Nothing's going to happen, though.
No, Searing Charge not coming through.
But
Aki was there as well.
Going back to that Haro play, none of your members of bot lane are around. You're looking to solo kill the Jhin, which you definitely have the burst to do, but once again, the problem with Taliyah from talking to a lot of pros is that you just have no way to guarantee her combo. Her combo is so skill reliant, so situational, and even reliant on the enemy making mistakes.
Yeah.
But Haro doesn't care. He looks for it, isn't able to find it, just kind of wastes his time.
He definitely does. Here's Cold down with a crash down once again. Wiming took 2 turret shots, unfortunately, as the curtain call missed absolutely everything, but that won't stop OMG, but maybe it stops Cole. He tries to mount back up with Ferromancy, but he's dead. So there goes the Rel, and for OMG, they did not hit a single skill shot.
No, but they still did get the charge off, so the turret is low. They picked up some plate gold, but gold's still firmly in Rogue Warriors' favor, but I feel like we just need to keep reiterating, because it really is going to be the theme of these drafts, right? Is that we have Ornn, Kindred, like a lot of DPS, scaling, sustainability on one side, versus a team that is pretty much just full burst for Rogue Warriors.
Yeah.
The silver lining for that is Rogue Warriors, though, right? Is that if someone of OMG ever steps out, even if it's Aki on the Kindred, he's dead before he can even pop his ultimate. True.
I mean, and if he survives for a little bit longer, Ziv's just going to ult him himself. So remember, we're playing against the Mordekaiser, so it's a pain, and he's going towards Riftmaker. So this is going to be, you know, long combat Mordekaiser who does very well with his Omnivamp. There it is, picked
Obviously,
up.
It's an item that synergizes really well with when you run the Conqueror, since both obviously increasing in damage with how long you're in combat. Conqueror also, once you get fully stacked, giving you the heal as well, synergizing with the Omnivamp. So I really like this combination, especially when we've mentioned how right, OMG has a tankier team. I'm sure there's burst elements there with the Jhin and the Syndra, but also has some DPS in it with a Kindred. So we do expect fights to not just be over in one cycle of spells.
Yeah, very, very true. Hey, Kindred with Kraken Slayer is something you talked about a little bit earlier, just as a side note, but I'll be really curious as to what we see from the Syndra itself, because Ludens feels like it's the only way, right? And especially with Lost Chapter picked up. I do not...
Yep.
We saw an Everfrost Twisted Fate, and that was something else, but I don't expect to see that here is... What's the word for that? As Culling comes through.
Bad. Bad.
Yes. Holding no punches. Well, Rogue Warriors use a lot of ults for that, and they get the dragon because of it, so that's good. We're going to set up for a Mountain Rift. But if OMG get their hands on that, this is going to be a very hard game for Rogue Warriors to close out.
Yeah, so this is definitely where OMG need to start kind of getting into high gear. They have another 5 minutes, I think, to play slow, get some defensive wards in river, just farm your camps, answer pushes on waves. You don't necessarily need to look for any aggressive plays in your own right to start fighting for those Mountain Drakes, because, like you said, with how much durability they have between Ornn and Rel, and with how burst-oriented Rogue Warriors comp is, it will be impossible to...
Because remember, if Rel still's at 10% MR and armor, then she has the 6% on top, that's amplified. So, like, it's very easy for Rel to become unkillable after hitting 2-3 members in a fight.
But still not the easiest thing to stack up.
True.
Especially when Rogue Warriors have a front line of Mordekaiser and Set. Looks like Rogue
Hang on a
Warriors.
second.
Oh.
Ignites down, flash away from Arky. Once again, burning jungle flash for support. Definitely worthwhile in the mid lane. Betty is getting bootied. This is a bit of a knock-up. Great clap together. And the curtain call for the finishing touch. Cold's like, I'm dead. I'll take it. 1 for 1 in the end. But the grasp almost puts New into range, but the Bella's Breath makes him unstoppable. And Rogue Warriors managing to get the support, but it was a net win for OMG.
Rogue Warriors drafting this comp that wants early aggression. It fits the story we've always told about Rogue Warriors. They're looking for the fight, but still, like you said, OMG are able to pick off the misfortune. Sure, Cold goes down in the end as well, but when we said the name of the game is just buying time, getting more resources, definitely feels like OMG are getting there. You even forced Ziv to blow his TP, so not going to be there for that dragon fight in 3 minutes. So OMG definitely having a lot of, I'd say, like soft map control, unseen map control.
Unseen, okay. We're running Dust Blades all around. We've got a Gale Force on Jhin, and we've got a fight in the top lane. Really good attract and repel. Man, that was really nicely said. OMG gonna pick up yet another kill in front of this Herald. I don't know how safe this is anymore. Even with the jungler in front, this could be contested by OMG, but it is pulled away, and Rogue Warriors will still clean it up. So Herald goes down, nevertheless, but OMG slowly but surely continuing their soft map control there.
And we do see the turret plate gold a bit in favor of Rogue Warriors, which I think is expected from, again, the early game that we've seen from both teams so far. It feels like the big points we're waiting on, right, is Haro picking up his mythic item as well as blooming. Speaking of mythics, we do have a Gale Force Jhin, so once again, it's all about that utility, the movement speed coming out from each legendary item that you buy. And people may be just wondering, hey, like, why this over, like, you know, the damage or the burst you get from something like an Eclipse, just in, especially coordinated professional play, being able to have that one escape more. You think about it, that's an extra flash that you just paid, you know, like 500-600 gold for, like, compared to some of the other items. It's just too nice to pass up.
You know, it's also the mythic passive I love with Gale Force for a Jhin, right? The movement speed is so important for this character, for this champion.
3%.
Yeah, each legendary item, but it's going to be the Bellows Breath ready for the bottom lane. Searing charge used. Ulti was a good slow, but Aki now put into the death realm. I don't think Ziv wants that because he's got a QSS. New gets the kill, and OMG are going to get this turret alongside with it.
And really nice from Aki to actually pick that one up early. You don't typically see people truly pay respect to the Mordekaiser tax, but he does, and, you know, trades on both sides of the map, but hey, right now, OMG are the ones with bot side control. Dragon's up in 55 seconds. Eric and Cole going to attack mid lane turret, and now they're the ones that have a slight gold lead.
Yeah, the OMG, the team that are happy playing this game out for the long duration with this Ornn. I want everyone to note that we are a couple levels away from Ornn upgrading his own Sunfire Cape and then starting to upgrade these mythic items across the board too. I haven't actually looked at the Jhin upgrade. I'd be curious to see what happens with Gale Force, because if he gets more movement speed, that's just going to feel so great as this first item. I want to come back to that because it's such an interesting conversation. We have Seismic Shove. We have Mordekaiser getting in range for ulti. Lucian Dash. So it really does feel like this was the right item for this game from Eric. So I appreciate the itemization. I know we're going to get a look at it in 10 seconds when we get towards Mountain Drake as well.
I'm really curious to see how Rogue Warriors approach this fight as well, because I feel like realistically there is no good angle. They don't have anyone who can really approach on a flank. If they do just run forward and look for the straight up 5v5, Kindred still has that Lamb's Respite to, you know, keep the members alive. But that might just be Rogue Warriors' best option. You honestly might just need to slam your hands on the keyboard, run into them, and kind of hope for the best.
They start the Dragon up. Cold is hit with ultimate. I haven't seen a Magnet Storm yet, but the Curtain Call starts off. Weaver's Wall lines him down. Cold's ready to crash down. The Call, the Forge God layers down. It's actually Aki who steals it away. Death's Grasp close to bringing Cold back in. A 5 versus 5 in the river. The dispute is settled. It's OMG who walk away with their heads held high.
Yeah, and Haro with a good Weaver's Wall. Just, of course, Aki's playing the Kindred. He's able to queue over it. So we saw the dynamic right there where Rogue Warriors are also very aware. There is really no good way of 5v5ing the composition that OMG has, so they have to back out. Aki walks up, smites the Drake, pieces out, and OMG starting to build up those resistances that we talked about.
And just taking away the jungle camp after all said and done. I mean, they're pushing their head in, getting some of this deeper vision too. Setting up for the potential of Baron in 20 seconds when it spawns. Of course, not on start, but meaning that there is going to be a lot more vision prioritized up here. This next Dragon's not for 4 minutes, and OMG maintaining the lead. Want to make sure this game plays out how it's been going for the past 5 or so minutes.
Yeah, I don't feel like OMG needs to look for any sort of cheeky Baron play. You'd be in a enclosed choke point against a lot of AoE damage coming out from the bullet time, the culling, Talia's full combo, set ultimate, to where you can just, once again, farm your camps, push out the side lanes. I know LS always says, like, create action within action, right? And I feel like this is what you can do as OMG. Put Rogue Warriors up against the fire, make them make the tough decisions. You don't need to.
True. Very good point. I think for OMG, it's just showing their control in this second game rather, of Demacia Cup for them. The win against FPX was impressive, but so far against Rogue Warriors, they're doing the exact same. Could be a new favorite for Group A. As Aki and New waiting for Ziv to pop out. Remember, the QSS on Kindred is back up and available, and you can use Bellows Breath if it's well timed to get out of the Death Realm too. So not many options for Ziv to try and get an isolated 1v1.
Yeah, and with more QSSs coming out, we see one on Eric as well. You don't necessarily want to pull Rel into the Death Realm, so we're only waiting on Wooming to pick one up, and we've seen how these fights have been kind of stacked. Usually it's right, New and Cold in the front with Aki close behind, Eric sitting far back with his ultimate and Wooming somewhere in the middle. Siv's never to get close enough to even ult Wooming to, try and get that 1v1.
It's going to be super rough for this Mordecai zone. Wooming might even kill him in the process because he's almost towards his second item. There's a lost chapter there with Call the Forge God mid. Betty, 80 carry life in 2021 is going to be as bad as 2020 has been, to be quite honest. Betty's running away from this curtain call. First nails down, second Chocho. The third and fourth will hit the set as New was ready to follow that engage up. But OMG had a really good attempt at forcing the 80 carry back. Betty, well done to hold on the flash.
Yep, so still some summoners burnt for pretty much only an ultimate that's on a short cooldown. OMG, 1 minute and 55 seconds. In Rogue Warriors, it seems like they're just trying to hit a few more item breakpoints. It looks like the Mordekaiser's potentially working towards a Nashor's Tooth. We already have the Mirror Mana built on, finished on both Forge and Betty, but to be honest, I don't feel like there's any more item breakpoints that you necessarily hit as Rogue Warriors that OMG hitting equivalent items doesn't still make them stronger than you.
True. I guess at this point, I'd wait for the Mirror Mana from the Lucian, get those 2 items and see the excess damage that comes through. Mirror Mana about to be picked up from Betty as well. He's 6 stacks away with the Eclipse in hand.
Realistically, as Rogue Warriors, what you'd want is for Haro to hover with Forge in a side lane and look for picks. But you can't do that when OMG are actually playing out the map setup correctly, right? They have Aki hovering with Wooming. There's no opportunity to look for that play. Your only other choice is Haro and Ziv looking for a play on New, but up against a tanky Ornn, it feels kind of wasted. So OMG doing a great job with their lane assignments of denying Rogue Warriors really only set play available to them.
And because of that, I mean, Aki's been able to pick up a couple of marks. He was denied a lot in the early part of the game, but that won't matter. So Rogue Warriors making a bit of a move towards Baron, clearing out vision with Forge up towards the top side. They want to make sure this river is spotless clean. And with Betty and Ziv here, the potential to find a side lane or pressure OMG into the choke of vision becomes a reality, especially around this dragon that's spawning in 20 seconds.
Yeah, and again, we're going to keep coming back to the same talking points at this point because Rogue Warriors composition doesn't really change.
Oh no, that was a really good combo from OMG. Once again, the crash down is a threat, and OMG forced the flash out of Chocho.
Yeah, and right, even though Rogue Warriors comp might not change, the plays they can make can change, and definitely not the play we want to see out from Chocho. OMG do end up losing mid-turret, but doesn't feel like that's too big of a deal. Once again, a bit more gold in Rogue Warriors' pocket doesn't really change much. For OMG, getting that second Drake is huge. So, we're thinking now, hey, if you keep painting all these things that Rogue Warriors can't do, what can they do? I feel like
Run.
Pause.
Yeah.
Run.
Okay. Yeah. Betty flashes, and there we go.
We're at the stage of the game where Rogue Warriors are looking for cheeky brush plays. Pick a brush, pick any brush, camp in it, hope someone walks in, land all your bursts, turn that pick into a Baron play.
I'm just waiting, Lyric. I want to see what Ornn's armor is with the Mountain Dragon. You know, Rels would be quite high as well with a winged moon plate. Building up towards the locket / dead man's maybe is the first item. It's going to be so much armor available for OMG. So Betty as a lethality user is probably not going to do too much damage. And yeah, from Rogue Warriors, they need to make a play. They start up the Baron. This is everything into the basket.
Yeah, and this is what they need to do, right? Look for the cheeky play. Hope you can get the smite off, and OMG don't have time to engage on you.
Quick.
But Ornn's sneaking in.
They're trying to burst it down, but Aki's over the wall. Lamb's Respite holds it on, and with the crash out, that's DC. Lamb's Respite will heal them up. The smite's down. He autos it to death. And OMG have taken Baron. Don't worry about the fight, because with Baron denied from Rogue Warriors, this one's done. Ziv goes in, trying to bring the game back, and Cold and you, all that remains. He flashes on in. Haro with the searing charge. And Rogue Warriors, even though they may have found the remnants of the fight, it feels like from here, Rogue Warriors can't do too much with it.
I mean, New gets Baron feels like the only kind of like silver lining out of any of this for anyone. Sure, Rogue Warriors got a bunch of gold, which again is going to get them closer to those next item points. I feel like OMG win that just by denying the Baron. The fact that they even get to keep one is massive, because now you can group as 5, push mid, and start maybe sieging some turrets. But here we see the play once again. Aki gets in there, stops the Baron from getting too low with the Lamb's Fight. We're actually going to see Haro smites too early. Aki is able to get his smite off and confirm that one. Haro now massively low, but a lot of the members of OMG just walking into that Mordekaiser AoE, and Ziv doing a great job with that flash Q, picks up some kills, going to keep following Cold and pick this one up as well. So, again, there's a bit of a silver lining in there for Rogue Warriors, but...
Yeah. But you know, let's clarify something to our audience. We talked about this a lot in Champion Select and the start of this game, where Rogue Warriors essentially were on that timer. You know, Rogue Warriors had to get this game into the swing of it, otherwise it would fall to pieces. And for OMG, they've hit that 2-3 item margin. It's 27 minutes in the game, and there's still that 1k gold lead. Mountain Dragon, which makes it so much worse for Rogue Warriors, considering they have Dalia, they have a lethality user in Betty, right?
Also, we're already seeing the Ornn items come out across the team, right? Kindred's already upgraded, Jin's already upgraded, so... OMG just getting even more free stats just for the game going longer.
Yeah, and the game is going longer, that's for sure. Rabadon's, when that comes in for Wombing, is going to be a big second item. Collector there with the QSS. You pay the tax, but it's definitely worth it. Mountain Dragon coming up in 1 minute 30, and Rogue Warriors, if they want to try and win this game, then they've got to deny as many resources possible. They got to stop giving Mountain Dragons to OMG, because every 6% means this Ornn becomes more and more unkillable. So we'll see. That timer ticking down now. And Lyric, any other items across the board that you think are going to make the difference?
The death cap for sure I think will be a big one for Wombing, but again, at the same time, they're already in such a commanding position. I think for the side of Rogue Warriors, not really. You're at the point, though, where you need to just kind of throw yourselves at them with a sort of reckless abandon that they can't anticipate. You just kind of hope something sticks, right? You think you see Kindred walk a bit too far forward. All of you jump on it, look for the pick. You need anything at this point.
I like the Magi's picked up by Haro. Yeah, we mentioned this item a little bit and how much better Darksteel has gotten.
Also counts as a legendary towards your Mythic passive, and it's very cheap.
Yes, it does. There's a bit of Magic Pen there. As for Rogue Warriors fighting in the river now. Look at this. It's going to be a 5 versus 5. It's like we're on the Howling Abyss. And OMG might not mind it at this point. Mercurial Scimitar picked up on Jin as well. They've got the inside track to mid. They're just going to channel down.
Yeah, and Rogue Warriors can't turn off this and go do the Dragon, because this would guarantee an inhibitor for OMG.
And Ziv coming in for the flank. It's onto New. The Ornn is so tanky at this point. And minimal damage has been done. Call the Forge God for the re-engage. Ziv hasn't burned his ulti yet, but the Forge God misses onto Chocho. OMG, do they care? Because they've got top wave set up perfectly for them to push in.
I don't think I like this from the side of OMG because you're just delaying the game even more because you're still realistically going to wait for those like same
Also
item
true.
break points and dragon points. So you're getting a bit of gold. I guess they did waste the Ornn ultimate, but again, that was a conscious choice by New. Like in that scenario, I don't know why you'd realistically want to hit up either Ziv or Chocho, right? You're looking for one of those other core 3 members. So Rogue Warriors stay alive for a bit longer. They're now on Soul Point, a position I didn't expect to see them in, and they even equal out the turret trade.
It's kind of funny because that's what I said before, right? Like Rogue Warriors, need to deny these Mountain Souls. The Mountain Soul, rather Mountain Dragon. So, that's one taken away from OMG, and it ain't over yet. Definitely in the LPL, something we've said a lot of times with Rogue Warriors. They've won games they shouldn't have. They've lost games they shouldn't have. Rogue Warriors, if you haven't watched LPL, probably the most entertaining team in the league. By far. And I don't think there's much disagreeing with that. Maybe that or IG.
No, I think the fact that Rogue Warriors can bring everyone into this alternate circus dimension is a skill very unique
circus.
to them.
True.
Hey, it's fun, and hey, I remember I was on the train saying they were going to make playoffs when they were in 12th place.
Oh yeah,
I was wrong.
But you were close.
I believed.
Yeah, you were close. They went on a win streak, and OMG want to make sure they don't start one here. That's called the Forge God use. Ziv pulls Aki into the Death Realm. Aki, I'm not sure if you wanted to use the QSS, but opts not to if it's not available. Weaver's Wall was burnt as well, and OMG, they've got the health bars to start threatening around Baron. Baron's spawning in 13 seconds, and this will help them push into the base.
Yeah, and I think they should, right? They still have some engaged coming out from Cold, as well as Eric being able to just open up that ultimate, but they're still taking it slow, just crashing in mid-wave. And this is the least action we've seen all day.
Yeah, true. Not enough kills
Which is
in
weird.
This game either.
The game started off, we're constantly talking, oh, skirmish bot, skirmish top, skirmish mid. And OMG just got to a point well, we're winning, and we're always going to stay winning, so
let's keep winning.
Just hang out.
Yeah. Hanging out in River now. Teleport going to be burned. Baron has begun. But Rogue Warriors are running in first. It's Forge on top of New, and he's searing charges out of there. Aki's forced out too. But Rogue Warriors won't be starting this Baron. Instead, they take the curtain call and the final shot not connecting. And OMG might back away for now, but Rogue Warriors have the damage to force this as well. So a tense situation continues, but both teams opt not to fight.
Yeah, OMG showing a lot of respect to the damage that Rogue Warriors can put up, which we did mention this earlier, right? That OMG don't need to look for cheeky Barons because they're funneling into a choke point against a composition that has so much AoE damage.
Sure.
We also see more items coming out as well. Mordekaiser picking up the Blighting Jewel, which obviously builds into the Void Staff. Haro already finishing off the Void Staff himself, and a Bloodthirster coming out from Forge, so going to give him even more burst to sustain. So Rogue Warriors at least picking up a lot more of these one item points. We are starting to see OMG get there as well with the Rapid Fire Cannon on the Kindred, but a bit slower on the items for OMG because members like Wooming opted for that 3,800 gold Rabadons.
True, it's super expensive. Remember, it went down from 40% to 35%, so it's like the most expensive item in the game. And you and I were talking about this while we have a bit of a lull before we get to this next Dragon / Baron. You and I were talking about how expensive Rabadons is and people opting for Void Staff instead. I guess not for this game for Wooming, who's level 16.
I guess for Wooming, right, they really don't have any tankier targets that are going to build resist on the opposite side.
Ooh, Aki pulled in. Deadly Flourish does connect, lands with Spy Foot down, and Ziv tries to walk into it. But he's dead before he can get the effect. Rel jumps in with the Magnet Storm. But OMG are low. Rogue Warriors have healed up. Here's the Weaver's Wall. Is Haro going to die from this? He hops off before he does, and Aki hops out himself. Rogue Warriors with a numbers disadvantage, but the curtain call now unleashed. New goes in for the searing charge. It doesn't connect, and Forge is hitting away at him. With the Bloodthirster, it's hard to kill him on top of the already Kraken Slayer. Rogue Warriors stand strong as 3.
Yeah, and OMG not really having any more engaged to offer, so Rogue Warriors just kind of able to weave in and out of the fights as we saw Forge doing, and they've been doing a good job of... We came into this game talking about how OMG have a lot of range CC tools and engages, but Rogue Warriors just have a lot of engage between the Talia and the Misfortune, and Lucian as well able to close a lot of distance very quickly.
Sneaky.
isn't dissuading OMG though.
Teleport coming in. Rogue Warriors need to stop this. Ziv gets the pull in onto Cold. Remember, Magnetic Storm was used before, so Cold has nothing. One support down, one Baron in the hands of Rogue Warriors as well. That's the steal to keep you in this game. Rogue Warriors never die.
An absolutely massive play coming from Haro. We've been seeing steals absolutely all day. And we said, hey, there needs to be something to keep Rogue Warriors in the game. Stealing Baron and getting the Mountain Soul. Now OMG needing to pay them so much respect. It feels like there were times where OMG just took it a bit too slow, maybe made the wrong decision on that third Mountain Drake for the side of Rogue Warriors. And now Rogue Warriors might even just be able to push in and look for the end.
This Baron's done so much. Haro is a monster. An absolute monster. He does this in LPL, does it in Demacia Cup. It's enabled Rogue Warriors to get the push with Baron and get the inhibitor. Inhibitor turret drops, of course, well, with topside being threatened, and OMG need more time. But Rogue Warriors aren't going to give it to them. Double inhibitor to drop. They're going to back away. But Lyric, do you see that TP ward? Is this going to happen?
No. No, it is not.
Okay, all right. Well, that's shit. Oh, excuse me. Well, of course, it was blue side ward. Never mind. But OMG losing double inhibitor. And all it takes is one play, one steal in the Baron pit that OMG gave away.
Yeah, and OMG got it so low, they weren't really at a point where they can try and threaten a turn, and obviously Rooming isn't here. So Cole tries to zone them off just in time, but he gets bursted down. Rogue Warriors all walk forward, find the kills, take the Baron, and now they have a 2k gold lead. And I feel like more importantly, they have Mountain Soul, as well as having the ability to buff the waves, look for the push. And now with two inhibitors down, it's very easily just going to all lead to bot side, where they can just play patiently, syncing up the waves, and looking to kind of create time and play with a 3-lane setup to break down this last inhibitor.
And also time in these fights. If we get to another fight, Mountain Soul changes the dynamic of the game completely. Dynamic of scaling as well, where they can spend longer in these fights. They can get the time to whittle away at people like the Ornn, you know, people like the Rel as well. And with Chocho running around, the damage he can absorb now is so much greater. So for Rogue Warriors, bottom side push coming through, Lucian setting up through mid, and the Supers well on their way. They've even got a ward to TP into Lyric. You see that one? Right in the middle, in the base. If need be, they can go right to that.
That doesn't give them much of a flank angle, but you
100
know,
meters in the right direction.
Maybe it's possible.
Yeah, you gotta be optimistic, as a bit of stolen resistance from Cole. Rogue Warriors have the wave clear, but Call the Forge God. It's another team fight in the making. Observer zooms out as they should, because the ball time to come through. New gets pulled back in against the wall. That ulti perfect. The Weaver's wall says go home. OMG now running for their life as Eric is just getting cleaved into. Forge is big boy on campus. Betty flashes as well. 4 versus 4 in the base. That was inting if you look at Chocho's perspective. So it is a 1-for-1 in the end, but they get triple inhibitor, and Rogue Warriors one step away from bringing this game to its knees.
Yeah, and again, it's been great play so far from Haro, like you've said, and Ziv doing such a good job as a frontliner. 4 members of OMG are still alive, but with all these super minions, I feel like Rogue Warriors can look for it.
Forge is in the Lamb's Respite. It comes out in a moment, but he's knocked up. Nice crash down here from the Rel. Cold may have saved the game, but you need Eric to clear these waves. Instead, Betty's walking up. He's unkillable. Haro and Ziv on a tear themselves. Ziv has a Death Realm number. It's 999911. As Eric is the final remnant of this game. He will QSS away, but you know it's done. Betty's a gangster, and he'll take what he wants, as Haro just throws one rock for the kill. 700 gold meaningless, but a win is not. Rogue Warriors never say die. The song about legends was obviously about them.
Yeah, and our first look at new Rogue Warriors coming in with a bit of an interesting mix, an interesting way to win the game. We saw some problems with OMG this game. We saw some good things with OMG, to be fair. Once again,
that one game. As we have a look at the graph here, yes, that was a Rogue Warriors game. This is another reason I think choosing Group A was just so great. We get Rogue Warriors in it. Like, why would you not pick the group with Rogue Warriors when you have games like that where somehow Betty topped the damage charts?
Well, I actually wanted to mention, because